as we started with our short today, we discussed in 1 minute love, and it is stability, commitment, and integrity. What we also looked at is how people call secure attachment and ventral energy boring. They're the same people who basically have expectations of others. Thank you, Sadhguru. It means that you're trying to fix their lives, fix your own life. That is freedom. And as Sadhguru also shares with us, love is quality. Love is not what you do. Love is what you become. But those who are not securely attached don't know any of this because they are actively a paused self who is a codependent type who enters into one of two categories. Thank you, Patrick Tian, for this. The caretaker of others, the blamers, and then the changing others, the martyr superiors, which I've met bountiful of. So they, for example, are these. For most people, love means you must do what I want. And this is Sadhguru again. He says, no, love means they can do what they want and we still love them. That's actually correct because there's only one God, and you can call God Akash, Source, Universe, but it's take me as I am, for I am flawed. And here's where Terry, what is it when people love themselves as functional adults? Self-acceptance means I can be considered crooked, which is why, yes, somebody can, since I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group who's a functional child adult who talks about God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit with my own way and everything else, accepting all, rejecting none. Those who don't like us call us evil, Luciferian, polyamory, get called whores, masochists, you name it. But guess what a functional child adult gives two shits about? The words that you use. Because self-acceptance means that I actively accept the self of me with integrity. So what you say doesn't matter. I will know how I will have chosen to consciously conduct myself because I don't have a pause self. I have a bilaterally integrated brain, vertically overall, and I know how to self-regulate independently of you in my ventral vagal state. That's called secure, attached, non-traumatized person. It's not boring to meet stable, committed, with integrity, men, women, and theys. And those are the only human beings that I will have from when I was a kid to even today considered in any way, shape, or form loving. Because they're kind, because they're authentic. Anyone else is a fearful coward that I told God by the time I'm 19, I don't see Lucifer, just cowards. And with attachment trauma education, what I can tell you is they all are. That's why, again, so people will say, I want love and I want commitment. I'm 45. There's a bunch of men and women out there that I know I'm not even going to go there right now yet. Again, not only do they call secure attachment and ventral energy boring, but they actively disregard going to get their inner child healed with Patrick Tian, good therapist. And you see them dating people that actively are their unfinished business. And so they will complain because I love you, but you're not doing this. So complaining. The codependent types, again, people please, they self-blame, focus on others, need to be needed, and they let it go all the time. They become the squirrel from Cusco land. So one thing goes wrong and they've had enough of it, they switch a flip, and all of a sudden they're justifying, like the squirrel does, almost getting Cusco killed by jaguars. In their mind, their narratives, not so fancy. That inner and outer critic, maladaptive daydreaming, not a good thing, especially when it's called ruminating and when it's basically a broken. No, inner children aren't broken. They don't need fixing, but they do feel defective and shame at the heart. It's called self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart. So the hell is what they're in. They get out of hell when they move into reparenting and undoing all that childhood trauma and or whatever the story is. So when people learn to love, it's because they love themselves first, which is why Terry Real tells all of us, like Patrick Tian, how people get confused when you tell them be yourself and love yourself first. And now I know why so many people aren't their true selves. So we are instead here at IHP, yes, our true selves. Because the 5D collective is only in the love frequency because we have bilateral, vertical, overall integrated brains. Why? Because we take our mind and our body seriously. So we know inner and outer well-being. Whether you used words like this or not, I've been doing it since I was a kid. I have a whole 3-year-old heart, and my child parts, they're all asleep, which is why love is freedom and joy. Yes, because I don't need to attach to you. Attachment is bondage and misery. Thank you, Sadhguru. So when you meet the codependent types, here's our martyr superior. They feel self-important. They need to suggest. They push what they want you to do, and they try to completely take over. And because these people don't take ownership of their own hypervigilant state, their own brokenness with humanity, and all of their exiles and protectors, and their pause self who's on a wheel with other people that are like them, They're all adaptive child parts, which is one word that Terry Real, again, explains really great. Let me go and find him. So when they try to correct you, when you're equanimous, you don't really do anything because you're also discerning, common-centered. It means we have the depth of our emotional plane, mature, accountable, participating. Maria's here. You speaking words from your mouth doesn't erase me. That's all. So we are very happy because we don't want to do our sympathetic or modulated. Time is not money, it is life. And actively, every second that I can spend in eustress is great for my body, which is why mindfulness practices with mindset skills and the inner growth mindset are what I share with you all. The video-based, subscription-based modeled exercises will come out once we have a certain number of subscribers of the paid version on Fanbase or Spotify or our other audio podcast platforms, and on YouTube when YouTube and tiers are available. Okay, so other Sadhguru quotes. The greatest gift you can give to another human being is to accept, respect, and love them. And then our lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel, as he shares, integration made visible is kindness and compassion. And this road to integration can be incredibly energizing because what you are doing is helping someone heal, and also you're bringing forth that which is what every person can be. So out into the world, you bring the birthright for every person. The restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating lifestyle is what I was taught from smart therapists, and more than just those titles, is our birthright. And I have it, and you can have it too. And that's the part of, though, where people who suffer life still, and that's a whole other story, they don't actually acknowledge it, and you'll notice, and in fact, they consistently don't go to reparent their inner child. They will ask about Boca Raton and going to trips and spiritual retreats, but they won't actually head over and stay with a good therapist, EMDR, child parts work, somatics, until they will be their higher self completely. So it's when you're a securely attached, non-traumatized person that you're leading with your higher self, raise your hand. That's when you're going to enjoy all the content and your ventral energy, and you don't find it boring, which is also why you will know what love is. As a teenager, I already knew because my mother gave me what love is. It's not you weigh me down. It's not a sacrifice. We take care of each other. Nobody makes anybody feel guilty. This is not how it works. And so here we have Manny, Diego, Sid with Cusco and Pacha, and that's called integrity. It's called healthy self-worth. It's called from your heart to your gut, to your brain and your mind. It's called a self-regulated nervous system because the tone will give it away. I will know if you are your emotionally mature version, because you will have a fun time with me, curious, open, accepting, and loving, and I will with you, and it doesn't matter what we're talking about. None of any of our conversations are going to be, I'm so scared to talk about it with you. And even if that does happen, for those who are empowered, what I can tell you is, even when I did know I'm going to be talking about serious stuff as I got older, because again, women, men, days that know how to be men, they commit. Women, they commit. Men don't suffer. Women don't suffer. We don't actually give up our life to be in miserable relationships. At least the ones of us who got lucky like I did, yeah, I have never wasted any of my time on any relationship. I've consciously chosen my relationships, the romantic type, on purpose. So when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, I regret every choice I made. Oh my God, they made me not love anymore. No, and anytime I'm hearing it, I'm like, okay, trauma is not a story of something that happened in the past. Trauma is the imprint that all experiences leave on your soul and your body as your sensations. Thank you, Bezel van der Kolk, MD. I also think of our lovely Pat Ogden, who shares trauma impacts the body so strongly, and the responses that the body has are often not metabolized. So people get stuck in trauma time. They can't move on from it until those responses are metabolized. When I see people who are actively not their higher self, I leave it alone because it's not my job as a human being to do anything. It's their body, their mind, their brain, their choice. And so again, love is stability, commitment, and integrity. Secure attachment, not boring. Ventral energy, not boring. Those who do find it boring, they want to stay in what their body is aware of, which is the sympathetic on-off. It's called hypervigilance, and it's pseudo-aliveness, and that's because, as even, again, Bezel van der Kolk's quotes go, people who have been traumatized, they put themselves in the same situations because that's when their actual body, brain, and mind feel alive. If they take the psych education seriously, if they take internet well-being seriously, they're going to take and say, okay, I'm out. And I will work with healthy self-worth, me and healthy self-worth individuals. And as Dr. Daniel Fox says, it doesn't mean you don't fall back on your maladaptive patterns, inner critic, outer critic, fucking drinking, drugging, or whatever, eating. No, you will. That's why you learn about yourself. These are my bad habits. I don't do bad or good, but these are the ones that don't bring me health. And the reason is because your body gets defensive when you use good and bad. That's why. Your body's always going to protect you. So if you're using words that are identifying something positive or negative, you are causing yourself not to be able to process mindfully what is coming up with your own left mode. And this is where people who are not thorough, they don't get it. And there are those who don't want to, though. They'd rather have a story because they're waiting to have a superhero, supervillain little fit. And that's because, again, the modality of hypervigilance is what they're doing. I'm seeing if there's any more quotes from this side, but there's not. And so with that being said, let me return to our lovely episode, because I shared with you some of our lovely channeled guidance food for thought from yesterday's episode, Grounding in the Wisdom of a Dragonfly as You Rise Above the Ashes Like a Phoenix, Instagram or YouTube. And for this, as we close on out, luckily for the self-empowered people in our 5D collective, we are able to spot those who have or lack love by noticing if they have emotional maturity, availability, accountability, and participation, and if they are that or not. And so as the 5D collective continues to move forward in our lovely era, we are empowered feminines and masculines as whole selves. So we own our sense of self. We get to have secure attachment and the capacity to self-regulate in our ventral vagal state, and we get to be restorative embodied mystics, spiritual and mindfully living and loving people. So we enjoy the consistent frequency of love and enlightenment, and we expand consciously and spiritually with clairs. We do know there's not evil, Knievel, medieval in the ancient religious philosophical textways. Those textbooks exist for a reason, and when you're grounded in your embodied integrated brain, is why you're now a conduit that doesn't go offline, and it's very straightforward. So love is easy, and integrity again is easy, and we don't get confused. When we spot somebody who's a pause self, we know that they could use therapy, not us, and we don't be the let me tell you. No, we will accept, love, and respect all people, which is why my facade friend is the consistent story I share with you. So we'll be back talking about, again, this topic, but here's the gist of it for today, and you have plenty more topics to catch up with in case you want to catch the grounded in the dragonfly. And you can check out the pictures on YouTube, Instagram. So again, thanks for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow, and we'll see you again soon.